Oh, I love that. Yeah, how do you get a room full of agents?
Yeah, really.
It's 11. It says recording, that's it.
That's it.
Recording in progress. Before we start, I don't
Yeah.
come in the office.
Yeah, you know what? Let's, okay, Nasser is here. Okay, we've been waiting on you. All right. Well, Jesse's getting ready and stuff like that. So yeah, let's do that. Let's start with introductions and stuff. So there's 4 questions. So you get to start, you got the microphone. Sarah's gonna start. So your name, how long you been in real estate, how long you been at Realty One Group Choice, what do you like best about Realty One Group Choice? And then you always got to have one of these questions. You get 10 days off, all reasonable expenses paid. Okay, meaning that not gonna give you a jet or a, you know, your own personal jet and things like that. What would your ideal vacation look like?
Are you paying?
Just saying, this is depends on the answers. But no, I'm not. But just kind of share. It's just kind of a good one. So name, how long you been in real estate, how long in Realty One Group, what do you like best about Realty One Group? And if you had 10 days off and all reasonable expenses were paid, what would your ideal vacation look like? Okay. Sarah.
I am Sarah Carlson. I've been in real estate 21 years. I would say half that time was full-time, half was part-time. During the crash, I went working as a social worker for 15 years. And then I've been at Realty One Group since you opened. So what is that now? 4?
May 2018.
4 years.
Yep.
Yep. And what I like best about Realty One Group is well, this sounds so lame and cheesy, but the synergy.
Oh, that's not cheesy.
Because
we're in Synergy Center right now. So
but just people are really welcoming. They're very kind. They love to bounce ideas off you. You don't like, it's a competitive market. I mean, and then you have a bunch of people who are competitive in one room, and then you don't know what's going to happen. And here it's a little bit fun. And so that's probably what I like best about it. And then I would go to Greece.
okay.
I would totally go to Greece.
Nice.
I would love to go to like beach hopping the islands or something like that.
Oh, cool. Excellent. So in the last 12 months, Sarah closed 26 transactions for $10.3 million. So you need a round of applause for that. All right, cool. Jackie B's up.
I am Jackie Barthel, and I have had my license since 04. So I think that's 18 years now. We've been here since December of 2018. We took a few months away and came back for our favorite reason, and that is just because it feels like family here. So that was what, for us, that's one of our favorite things. It's just the people.
Best vacation?
Best
Your ideal vacation.
Oh, well, I'm torn. So we are huge Disney people in my family. So of course I'd like to go to the ocean and Disney, but lately I've really wanted to do like a lodge on the top of a mountain with no cell service.
Yeah, I love it.
No distractions. And just nature. So that I
Love
think
it.
that's where I would want to go.
Cool. Jackie closed in the last 12 months, 25 transactions for $8.3 million in volume. Cool. Terry's up.
Good morning. I'm Terry Rizak. I forgot the rest of the questions.
Yeah. How long in real estate and how long here?
I think about 6 years
Yep.
or so. I've been here since you opened, maybe
Yep.
2 weeks after you opened. So that was the best move ever.
What do you like best about it?
What I like best about it is how genuine it is, and that was a huge difference coming from another brokerage. So how genuine it is, again, just how collaborative everybody is. Doors are always opened, even though they seem like they're closed, because we're getting things done. So that's good. My favorite vacation would be with my whole family. That means my 2 children, their favorite people, my mom, like my immediate family, and probably
Mark included, or
could go with. Yes, I know, my poor husband, he's just a punching bag all the time. And it would probably be right now Italy, because we've been talking about that for the last couple of years. So that's kind of next on deck. And
wine has nothing to do with it.
oh yeah, there's wine there too. Right. So that would be good. But yeah, just spending time with them. I find the older I get though, the place is less relevant than being with the people that I want to be
Yeah.
with.
Excellent. Okay, so Terry, in the last 12 months, Terry's closed 16 transactions for $9.1 million. So do the averages. That's a very, very nice average sale price. Yep. Michelle Goltz is up.
I'm Michelle Goltz. I have been a realtor for 15 years. I think what I love best about ROGC, which I've been here for 3.5, thanks to Terry. I think what I love best about this is you can walk in here and you don't know who's producing what. Everybody is on an equal level, whether you're a newbie or veteran. There isn't anyone that just walks in and everybody bows down. And I think that was, for me, when I came, really important because we all start somewhere. Let's see.
Ideal vacation. Yep.
Yes, that would be, of course, with my family, immediate family, and anywhere on water or a mountain away from people
And cell service.
and cell.
Would that be Michelle closed in the last 12 months, 15 transactions for $6.5 million. Way to go, Michelle. And she does property management pretty much full time. So this is a part-time gig for her to do that kind of volume. So great job. Kate's up.
Hey, I'm Kate Johnson, mom of 3 teens. I was in the wine business, believe it or not. I was a certified wine specialist before I came over to real estate about 4.5 years ago. I was with the other Realty One group, vertical, before I moved over to Choice. I loved everything Realty One group had to offer, but I needed Paul's expertise. So that's my favorite part about it. And his team, of course, they're all just awesome, super genuine. So happy to be here. I just had 1 year, like this week.
Yeah.
Week. So happy anniversary to me.
Yes, really.
Vacation. We are on a mission to get all 50 states with our family, and we are 7 states out. So if I had to pick one to be paid for, it'd be Hawaii.
All right.
We should be wrapping all those up here though soon. So
Cool.
no
And
service.
remember, Kate got into real estate 4.5 years ago. She's closed in the last 12 months, 51 transactions for $19.7 million in volume. Pretty much by herself, just so you know, too.
Self-service where you go either.
Yeah. Nasser.
Hey, my name is Nasser. I started real estate in 2019 as a part-time. I was an aircraft mechanic with Sun Country Airline, and I was doing okay. Then, I was with the Diner Realty. Then I switched to Realty One Group Choice in 2020, end of 2020. Then 2021, January, I was laid off. Then, I thought it was like a bad things to me. Then it actually turns pretty good. I did pretty good, and my real estate business kind of skyrocketed. And then thanks to leadership to Paul and leadership of Dave and everybody. So what I like about Realty One Group Choice is it's easy to reach people here, especially the broker, Dave, Mindy, the transaction, Amy, Janelle. So about vacation. So I like to go an island somewhere in Cyprus. And for a month, no self service. So,
Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay. Remember, he got into business in, what did he say, 2019? Yeah. In the last 12 months, Nasser's closed 25 transactions for $9.8 million in volume. Last but not least,
Hey, I'm
Jesse's here.
not used to this kind of microphone anymore. My name is Jesse Lynch. I've been in real estate since March 12th, 2020, which is like a week before COVID shutdowns.
Yeah, it was.
And I've been here since then, right? Like I just started here because I was in school at Shelby. I I already forgot all the questions. I had all this time to listen to other.
No problem. Yeah. What's you like best about Realty One Group Choice?
Oh yeah, just like the accessibility. You stole it from me, but that you nailed it. Like being able to like, I don't have that many questions. I have like these big high level questions where I'm like, I'm out of my depth here, and I need somebody, and I need to be that needs to be available, and y'all are really good at that.
Yeah. You may not have the questions, but your team has the questions.
Of course, yeah. Or I punt them to
Sunday
you.
nights. Yeah.
Yeah,
Me
yeah,
and
yeah.
Nick are good buddies on Sunday
Yeah.
nights.
More than once, he's been like, Paul's golfing. Do you have an answer to this? But yeah, you know, it's that's huge. And yeah, you know,
Ideal vacation. If you got 10 days off and
I'm going on it pretty soon.
Oh, yeah?
In like 9 days, I'm going to Banff, Jasper National Park in Canada, Glacier National Park, Montana.
oh my God, fantastic.
Probably at times. Yeah,
Probably, yeah, the mountains that gets a real spot.
yeah, not in the national park.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah,
So again, first, you
Yeah.
just started March 12th, 2020.
yeah.
During COVID.
2.5
During
years.
COVID.
Yeah. it was a
In the
wild time
last
to start.
12 months, Jesse and his team have closed 78 transactions for $30.2 million.
I didn't.
Right.
I didn't even know that number.
So I shared this on the video I sent out, but not everybody watches the video as I see the analytics later. But when my days back in Keller Williams, I used to go to a thing called Mega Camp in Austin, Texas every year. And they always had a panel up on stage. And it was so overwhelmed and daunting by listening to the panel. And I'd see these players up on stage. And I was just like, well, what am I doing in this business? I'm so over my head. You know, the numbers that they're closing on an annual basis were just astronomical. I couldn't even imagine them, right? And so I kept going back every year and kept going back every year. And as my business kept growing, last couple of years, I was like, oh, well, my business matches what they're doing up on stage. I never got called up on stage, but I felt like I was at least I could hang with the group that was up on stage and stuff like that. So I just want everybody to think about whether you're new to the industry, whether you've been in the industry for a while and you see these guys and what production that they're doing and stuff like that. I just wanted to have a panel today where you can see that everyone is unique and individual. And when they got into real estate, they had ideas like you're going to hear from Jesse and his ideas again, and Kate's what they did when they got into real estate. Whether they knew that this is what my personality is, this is what I stand for, this is what my plan of action is, or maybe they had an idea they saw from somebody else, maybe they formulated the ideas along the way, but there's something inside of them that pushed them, that drove them, that they held themselves accountable for to be the best of the best. And they're the best of our agents out of this office. We picked our top producers. So just think about that. Don't look at it negatively by at all. Think about what could you do so to get yourself up on this panel next time that we do it. Okay. Today is my mastermind. I do once a month as my mastermind. I was thinking a couple weeks ago what to do. I was just thinking about, it's time that we have a panel right now, right? Business is crazy. Business is challenging. What did Kathy Baker say? It's business is, remember she said it's not challenging. I can't remember what their wording was or whatever. Yeah, but it's, you know what I mean? We're all facing that, and the news keeps coming at us, right? Josh, stop the noise, right? It's just coming at us and stuff like that. But you know what? Business and the craziness of it haven't slowed down this guys that are up here right now, everybody that's up here right now. So we're going to kind of find out what are they doing differently, and hopefully you can pick a few things up. Okay. So kind of just to make sure we go over some ground rules. This came out of the Synergy session 2 weeks ago. For the people that are on Zoom, there's cameras in the back of the room. They pick up conversations and noises on Zoom. The people that are in the back of the room also hear things like on your laptop, on your phone, side conversations and stuff like that. Just so you know, it's very, very annoying to everybody else. So let's keep the side conversations to a minimum or none. And let's make sure that we're concentrating on. One of the reasons I handed these out is so you can handwrite notes on it instead of typing on your laptop, because that was very distracting and stuff like that too. I'm gonna ask a couple questions, and then we'll have time for agents questions. we've only got, I want to go through our 8 platforms. We only got about 7 or 8 minutes on each platform. So I'm going to kind of keep it moving along so we can, for out of respect of everybody's time and stuff like that. But if you've got a question, if you'll just jump up and next to Josh there, just kind of stand next to that microphone. That way people on Zoom can be able to hear the questions that are being asked too. Okay. Let's see what else here we've got. I think that's it. So for the panel, I'm going to ask the questions, and then just if you feel that you've got a good thought that you want to share, just maybe raise your hand or whatever. We'll hand the microphone down to you. Okay. Everybody in the room here can hear your questions. Microphone's more for everybody that's on Zoom. Okay. So, but we're not, we don't have time to go through everybody what their take is on each one of the questions. Okay. So let's get with that. We'll get started. So platform number 1, be consistent in creating well-planned touches to your sphere of influence. Okay. I remember when Jesse had just joined with us, COVID was going on. Everything we were doing was on Zoom, and I'm old school. My touching of the sphere is done through a CRM with 45 touches to the CRM. And Jesse showed me that there's other ways to touch your sphere of influence than doing that. So, and Jesse's done a dynamite job with that. So, but that's our first platform. Whatever your touches look like, however you keep your sphere of influence, okay? And sphere of influence is this is your farm, you know, it's your own personal farm. Your sphere of influence is, where am I going to get my business from? When you're brand spanking new to the industry, you need to compile your sphere of influence, okay? It's going to be your immediate family, obviously. It's going to be friends and, you know, relatives, or, you know, people from church, or whatever it's going to be. Or it could be your audience on social media. It could be that farm that you're going to be your neighborhood. I'm going to work my neighborhood and stuff like that. Okay, that's your sphere. That's what I'm talking about for that. Okay, so first question, how do you currently touch your sphere? So how do you reach out to them, let them know that you're in the industry and with relevant information? So
I'll start since I have my to me, like what Paul was referencing is that I see social media, I see any type of content that you can put on the internet, especially social media, because it's literally already, most of your sphere is probably on social media. Social media to me is the most casual, but like consistent way to touch your sphere. You can put out content multiple times. If you were doing this to people in real life, they'd be so annoyed. You know, if you were like, hey, just a reminder, I do real estate. Hey, here's a little thing I put out, want you to see it. It would be so annoying, but because it's on social media, people accept it and they go, oh, this is just one of the people who I follow on social media, who I've agreed that they can reach out over and over again on social media, and then they don't feel annoyed. I'm so in my head about just like reaching out to somebody, being like, hey, I'm just curious if you wanted. If you can do that, good on you. I can't. It's like so against my personality. Just call somebody and try to get business from them. But yeah, I see this as a way that I can very casually. People come to me. I put stuff out. People come to me because I've reminded them very casually, many, many times, that I do real estate, and so I'm who comes to mind.
yeah.
Very
consistently. Yeah. I mean, the last couple weeks, you've had a lot of postings in Nashville and Denver and
and I started
Salt Lake and
started TikTok too. I want to raise somebody to TikTok client. I started like 10 days ago.
okay.
'Cause I just like realized like even as much as I think I'm doing, I could be doing 10 times more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I know that's true for almost everybody.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. I love, and he's delivering creative, unique content.
Trying to be helpful
Yeah,
too.
absolutely. Very, very much
That's
so.
a huge thing.
And at not any point is he sitting there saying, send me a referral, send me a business. I need, you know, I need this, I need that. He's putting himself out there and it works. Yeah.
I think, the proposition of if I can help, I want to help. And there's like, here's a bunch of reasons that I'm already being helpful. Here's a bunch of videos that hopefully are helpful, that aren't watered down, that are even at all interesting or at all like a unique perspective on something. Then people are going to sort of, if it resonates with people, cool. If it doesn't, whatever, they have somebody else that they'll resonate with.
Yep.
But Yeah, just that like being helpful, like giving out a bunch of stuff for free on YouTube, on social media that people find helpful or entertaining or whatever. And then eventually when the time comes, they'll want to work with you.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. Anybody else? Yep.
About Jesse, I was watching 13 mistakes for first-time home buyers, and my husband drew back on this one. He says, "Can you send that to all your clients?"
Yeah.
You're not all-
Yeah. You definitely need to, for sure. Yep. Who else has got some thoughts?
So for me, I mean, I agree with Jesse. I don't ever ask for business, but I kind of always reach for my sphere. Even before real estate, I used to reach my sphere kind of like a social person. Hey, how you doing? Let's meet. I used to do that.
Yeah.
After real estate, I kind of increased it. I don't ever talk about real estate. We just meet. I did like 3 events this year. So I invited old friends, past clients, and then I told them to invite all their friends. So now I know more people.
Yeah.
The
Love
sphere
it.
is even bigger. So this is how I kind of grew it, is organically, as I kind of, talk to them, participate in their soccer, soccer games or whatever. So they know I'm there, and if they need help, they know who to call. So that's
Perfect.
how it is.
Excellent.
I will third all of that. But I think for me, the biggest thing right now is we're just living in just this really uncertain world. There's a lot of negativity we're surrounded by daily. So if you can be a source of light to people right now, whatever that looks like, being positive in the messages that you're putting out, stay away from drama, stay away from
Yeah.
politics.
Politics. Yeah.
Data over
Religion,
drama, I heard
yep.
today, like give good data, especially in our industry right now. There's a lot of fear mongering going on. So if you can put out good, positive data that keeps people excited about the opportunity to get into homeownership, that is never going to change. That is always an incredible opportunity. So what you put out there, even though you may not get the engagement you're hoping to get when you put, like, trust me, I sit there, I'm like, oh my God, this post is going to be amazing. And then you put it out and you get nothing, they're watching. So don't ever
Yeah.
stop putting that content out there. You're going to get way more when you're putting the personal stuff out because you're a little more relatable in that moment to them. But when it comes time, I was just telling Cassandra the other day, people you think aren't looking, they're looking. Zillow is like the new dating app, right? Have you seen the SNL sketch? If you haven't seen the SNL sketch, watch it.
Yeah.
Oh
It's
my
good.
God. But yes, just be a light right now and be consistent. Like just always be there for them. That's my biggest thing.
Okay, I'll go quick. We were in a meeting last week and I said, the captain of the ship always remains calm. So projecting a calmness and ability to talk through what's happening without seeming desperate is huge. As far as my sphere goes, I definitely, this is weird, but I focus on the people in my sphere that chat a lot or that are influential in some way. And I tend to navigate towards them, whether it be a lunch or just a text with a funny TikTok saying, hey, this made me think of you, with my Michelle Goltz realtor property manager, blah. It's funny how you can get certain personality types to work for you. And I think, that's something that I haven't really thought about, but it's what I tend to do. So it's my tendency. And then for people who just want something to just go out into the atmosphere once in a while, aside from social media, I've had pretty good luck with the Home Actions newsletter.
Okay. Good.
This is what I strive to be like more, with the social media. I find that a lot of my consistent contact with my sphere or past clients tends to be with print because that aligns well with the demographic that I push my business towards, which is probably the empty nesters and plus, so I don't disregard that. I do like the reminder media, the magazines, from that. I think that's good. That's a quarterly mailing. It's a beautiful publication. I do a lot of letters just on, hey, if you're doing projects this winter and you need resources, contact me. I'll never, ever send out a vendor list, but I will try and pull them back to me with just, I have this. So the social media is always trying to not overanalyze and just do it rather than not, but don't disregard the print either.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Oh,
We are pretty consistent with our sphere. As many of you know, that's kind of our love. And so we're like Terry, we do a lot in print monthly, but then we're huge in like pop buys and events. And like,
Somebody asked me before, what's a pop by? So
Oh,
you
what's
explain
pop
that, just in case anybody in the room.
like this last month, we brought mums. So we just randomly stop by and give people a random gift. And then like 1-to-1. So coffee, some of these guys, same thing, like coffee. I think it's the random text, you know, if you're in the neighborhood showing a house, and I remember a client is in that neighborhood, I always text them and I'll say, hey, in your hood showing houses, hope everything's fine. It always turns into a 7 or 8 back and forth type of thing. So I think like these guys said too, just that giving spirit, sharing the knowledge without expecting anything in return. I think is kind of how we deal with our sphere is we're always there. If you want anything done, it doesn't matter if you're going to move today or in 6 years, because we'll be here. And then for the only other thing that we do, I think for our sphere is we're really involved in the community. So for us, it's that we're very, very known and prominent in our community.
Oh, love it.
Do you want to move on or? do
No,
you
go
want me
ahead.
to? Okay.
Yeah, I want you. Yep.
All right. So I do I do newsletters. At this time, I'm writing like handwritten notes on them. I do pop buys as well, just different creative ones. I do pies, I do wreaths, I do all that kind of stuff, kind of like the give back thing. And then I do kind of like half automated social media, half personal social media, because like Terry said, my demographic is like, I've got some of these 20 somethings from my kids, right? So I've got all of them on social media and they're not going to even like open a print thing at all. And then I've got all my people my age and up who are awesome, right? And they're not old or anything. But they open only print and they're not even on social media and they would have no clue what I'm doing at all if I didn't send them something in the mail. So you really do have to know your demographic. And I just consistently, the word is consistently, hit them every single time. And then I randomly do, like I said, the pop buys, and I do coffee dates with certain people as well. Like I target certain people, and like even my daughter's getting her grad photos taken. And then I found out from my daughter, who helped hook me up with this 20-something-year-old, that she's looking to buy a house, and her parents had listed with me, canceled, ended up with a new group. Even though I went to lunch with them, I sent them stuff. They then probably went into an open house and just bought with that realtor. They're her parents. So I get to look them in the eye. And not being afraid, like I actually found their address and put them back on my newsletter list, and they're going to see me and be like, hey, and I think it's that positivity of like, it's all good. I'm okay. This is good. God's got this. I'm good. Like you don't ever want to be like shame and blame and even though you really want to cry and hit your pillow sometimes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. This question, and it's early, it's only September. You probably haven't done business planning yet or anything like that, but just talking about changes for next year. Is anybody on the panel that may be looking at doing something different for 2023 in terms of touching your sphere, marketing and things like that? Raise your hand and we'll pass the microphone down to you if anybody's got anything to share. Okay.
I need help.
Yeah, yes,
So
we do.
2023 is going to look a lot different as far as leverage, delegating, looking to start a team. It's going to change a lot that way. Obviously, I have to let go a little bit. I think that's a hard part of trying to be the light in your business, is not touching all of the things. And so letting go. And I think there's a lot of opportunity for us there when we let go a little bit. So
absolutely.
Numbers wise, if I can continue at the pace that I'm at, great. If I can double down, that would be even better.
Yep.
Yeah,
Jesse?
actually, I pretty much a year ago totally let go of all production, which was bizarre, but really nice. So that should be cool. And then, yeah, my whole focus is just like generating content, generating business. It's like all I am is a marketer at this point.
You're a rainmaker is what you
Sure.
are.
Yeah.
You're the rainmaker.
Yeah. I mean, and but it gives you a lot of time. I even I'm like adding people to try to create even more content. I'm not really shifting other than TikTok. I was kind of a TikTok, like I don't have time for TikTok. But now I do. So I don't really have like an excuse for that. And yeah, I don't know, my goal is to just create I don't know, 10 times as much, you
Oh,
know,
wow,
like
cool.
just so much content
Yeah.
that people wonder how I do it.
Yeah,
You know,
I
That's,
love it.
that's pretty much the goal. Yeah.
Anybody else got any thoughts on changes and stuff that you're looking for 2023 to do?
Okay, so I'm not like a highly visible type of agent. I kind of just go off of a lot of referrals and just conversational more than anything. So I'm going to be pushing a little harder, knowing what we're coming into potentially. You have to think about where is the market headed to, which clearly we're going to be a lot less buying and selling. I happen to have a husband who is a builder, contractor, etc. And I think tapping into a lot of people are going to stay in their homes. This is the time where we need to make our presence known, that even though you may not be buying and selling, we're still an asset to you,
Love it.
with talking about what are the remodels that you should do? How much money should you be spending? What will the return be? So I'm thinking about being more visible, partnering up with Randy on video to actually like really get in there, because people need to know that you're still a viable option, even if they're not ready to sell or purchase. So that's my thought.
Can you do while you're waiting to sell?
Exactly.
Yeah, yep, love it.
Oh,
Thank you for
totally,
sharing.
totally piggyback on what Michelle just said. It's kind of the messaging that's shifting. Like for me, I will default to what do I do that's unique to me, which is staging and interior design. And so that messaging of more emphasis on property preparation, or, you know, what could you do now if you're going to be selling in 2 years? But the message kind of pivots for where the market is right now. So, and then also systems. Paul knows this is like endless for me, is systems, and implementing stronger ones so I can free up my mind. So yeah, I mean, that leveraging, you know, and having things be more automated.
Yeah. That's great for sharing this, because yes, we have to kind of shift as the market's shifting, and our messages that we share. You know, I mean, we talked a lot about when it was so crazy out there, about sending out the message about your experience and you're stable, and, you know, this crazy world that's around. And yeah, they might have a relative that just got into real estate, and some of the things that you can bring to the table. So the message has changed over the last 12 months for sure. So that's really, really important. So this question I got is the advice for the room and audience on Zoom and everything else, in terms of maybe just getting into real estate, or maybe you're just struggling in real estate, just not getting that traction and stuff like that. What advice would you give to those agents about how to get started, to get the message out that I'm in real estate, and, you know, delivering the type of messages that you're sharing, and you're not begging for referrals by any means, but just getting that content out? What advice would you give, Jackie?
I would say, all of us do everything different.
Yeah.
Don't try to do all of this. I would say pick your thing. Pick what's comfortable for you. If that's video, then do video. If that's social media, then do social media. If that's cold calling, then, you know, but just be consistent. I think consistent, a lot of us give up. We try it for a few months and our phone doesn't ring. And then you're like, oh, well, now I have to try this. And we're inundated with try this. And how about if I do this for you? And, oh, this program over here and this coach over here. You have to just pick what speaks to you and you can be genuine with.
Mhm.
And that is your talent, you know, like Kate, your husband, right? I mean, like you guys have husbands. I don't have one that's handy. That's not going to work for me,
Yeah.
right? I don't have an interior design background. I don't even know how to do Snapchat, let alone TikTok. So that's not going to speak to me. And so I think picking what speaks to you and then being very consistent, have a plan. Don't go into it with, this is what I'm going to do today, and then not know what you're going to do in 30 days, what you're going to do in 60 days. So if you're new, I would pick your few things that speak to you and then have a plan and then be consistent.
Love it. Yeah, go ahead, Terry.
Okay. And on top of that, I would say do a lot of soul searching, which I've done the last 2 years, on what is unique for you. In other words, I heard this thing, I know I've said it before, but if you're trying to figure out what your brand or your value proposition is, if you can write it down and put like everyone else at the end of that sentence, and it makes sense, then it's not, it shouldn't be in your brand. In other words, like if you say, oh, I have a passion for showing houses or helping people find the right house, like everyone else, that's not part of your value proposition. Like for me, I would default to staging and property preparation. I can, share affordable staging solutions like everyone else. Well, like everyone else can't do that. So that stays with me. So do a lot of really discerning on what can you offer that's different than everybody else, and just hone in on that. I think that helps you with your messaging and what you're putting out there.
Love it.
Very good. Couple things. So first off, when I was new to the real estate business, I did a lot of previews. I'd go to look at properties by myself. No one's going to know if you're taking a video and you're by yourself doing an agent preview. Is that what they call it? Agent?
Yep.
Yeah. And you're in a home, take some photos, post it on the media, social media. I mean, like, just pretend, like, just get out there, because then your sphere is going to go, oh, look at them out showing houses, right? Like, you don't want to just always do the same thing. Like, and that gets you out there too and gets you motivated. And also just, for me, when I was new, I came in when, around you did, with the real estate market going into the tank, and got really creative with property management. It wasn't pretty back then. It was not out there like it is now. And so kind of tap into what you can feel confident in, because I knew I could do that. That was not nearly as difficult as short sales and, homes that had gone back to the bank. It was something I could do, and I could do it well, and it's repetitive. So.
I will say it's not easy. Like, everyone up here works really, 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 really hard. So don't expect it just to come to you like I did in the beginning. I remember I made my announcement. I got my real estate license sphere, and nobody came. It was like crickets. And just like Michelle said, you have to show your sphere that you are serious about this business. I don't care if you set up 16 agent previews for the week, show them that you're out there working. And that's what my previous broker said. Kate, they still see you as the wine girl. They don't see you as real estate. So until you start showing that you're closing properties or showing that you're actually adding value, they're not going to come. So put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to do that. Fake it until you make it. And then be prepared to work really, really hard.
Good. Cool.
I think y'all made pretty much most of the points, but finding something that's refillable, something that you can do over and over again, where you don't have to come up with a brand new idea every single time you want to make a piece of content. Everything I'm going to talk about is content. I don't know anything about Popeyes or anything like that. That's not me, and that's all good. I can appreciate it, and I can respect that hustle a lot, but to me, the content is what I do. And to find things where you go, oh, I can do this multiple times, and I'm not just making the same video again. I can make this multiple times about a slightly different version of that thing, and it doesn't seem annoying. And then finding something different. I say that over and over again. Different's better than better. Be different. And eventually you'll get better. There was one other point that somebody was making that I was going to piggyback off of, but I can't remember. So
That's okay.
all good.
So what we heard was consistency, unique, right? But put yourself out there, genuine, put yourself out there, and just in however you do it, you got to put yourself out there, and don't give up after 30 days. You have to keep going. You have to keep going, keep going. I remember when Kate did a post on electric cars, and she did her research on it and everything else. I love that post. I mean, it was like that, watching the engagement on that thing was amazing, because she found a subject that so many people had they had curiosity about it. They hadn't made that jump yet. And look at the market's changed. We tried to get Janelle an electric car. We tried like crazy and can't get one, so there's nothing available and stuff like that. But it was definitely a subject that hit a hot button, and to see that engagement come back.
Try other things, right? Like, if you're not getting the engagement, just put something. Oh, sorry. Put something out there, because all of a sudden I'll be like, oh, that guy, I haven't heard from you in 2 years. Where did you come from?
Yeah.
But it was something that he could relate to. So something that's relevant. Again, I'm kind of a content person too, not nearly on Jesse's level, but just it is about putting something out there that people can relate to different things.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be real estate related.
No,
No,
I
not at
more
all.
engagement. I get
Yeah.
more engagement on
Yep.
real estate related.
Than like
Yeah.
how to fold towels.
Right?
What's your
Yeah.
favorite
Yeah.
towel?
It's just weird, but that's what you want is you want the engagement. So it doesn't have to just be, hey, I showed houses today. Hey, I'm at an open house today. Hey, congrats, this person sold their house. That gets old and people don't want to necessarily see that all the time.
Yeah.
So, it's good to just.
If the only post you're doing is holding that sold sign at the closing table, and that's the only one that you're doing, you're gonna rub people the wrong way. Stop it. Stop it. Okay, that's not what people want to see. Oh, such and such got another commission, that's the message that you're portraying. So stop that. Yeah.
True is that, so many in our business market about, look at me, look at me, look at
Yeah.
me. And it's like, stop
Yeah.
doing that. Yeah. So
That created the for sale by owner blitz that we ran into is look what I've done, look what I've done. So, all right, questions from the audience related to platform number 1, consistent, well-planned touches to your sphere. Anybody got any questions? Just raise your hand and jump in. Kathy?
How hard is it to run TikTok?
Oh, I gotcha.
Stake in the mic.
Not hard at all, actually. I literally just started like 10 days ago.
Million followers.
No. But it's cooking, it's like you just like put out way more than you think you should put out. Your point earlier about like try other things. If you looked at the like total amount of stuff I put out, there's some absolute stinkers in there, that nobody cared about at all. And that's fine. That's just part of the process. I just post and then forget about it. Like that's then the time to sort of consume. But yeah, TikTok, it's easy.
Snapchat had a really high learning.
Yeah, it's Snap. I don't see how Snapchat fits in as well into real estate.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's a little pop culture-y, but so is TikTok, but I don't know. It's like,
But it's all the rage right now.
yeah, I think a person could watch 3 YouTube videos about how to post to TikTok and you'd be posting, it's not that crazy.
Kyra's teenager.
Yeah, true. Or hair teenager. Yeah.
Yeah. Dr.
Yeah,
John,
well,
that's right.
That's a dream job, by the way, for young kids.
Oh,
Like, a
yeah.
dream job to just post to TikTok.
Yeah.
So for sure there are people out there, or virtual assistants, in other countries who can
Right.
pay, like good wages there, but cheap for you. Like they would kill.
Who
for that.
who thought about cooking chicken in NyQuil? Have you heard the latest one? Okay, yeah. Somebody thought about cooking chicken in NyQuil, and now it's all the media is all hyping on about doing this, and it all starts on TikTok.
Yeah.
It all started with one video on TikTok. Yeah. We're not promoting that. Yeah.
Did you repost content you had on YouTube or on Facebook or on Instagram to TikTok, or is it all just new stuff?
Some.
Like the highlight reels or whatever?
Well, yeah. So stuff that my biggest sort of like thing with what I'm doing is trying to figure out how do I take this content that we make? Like Paul's back there. Say Paul's cool. That's my Paul.
Hey, Paul.
So we shoot so much content, but just on our like the neighborhood tours that we do, so much video, so much time spent, terabytes and terabytes and terabytes of video. And then, I've thought like, how do I get more out of this? And it's pretty obvious. Like we have the content, so how do we repurpose it? So to some degree, yeah, repurpose the content you've already done, but also know that TikTok is like a different animal from YouTube. I truly believe that if like anybody could start a TikTok, if you do it super, super frequently, you'll start getting people who reach out to you. And if you figure out and kind of learn like the language, like learn what people are like at all interested in. And there's like every age is on TikTok, and I think, how do you find the content out of what you've already done? That's one thing, but I think then creating brand new content for TikTok and then repurposing that out to other things, is smart. But I don't know, it's pretty easy. I don't know. I just did one. I just did the biggest video that I have on TikTok right now, which is, I feel so dorky saying that, but it's at like 10,000 views or something like that. And it was me walking into Fine Furnish in Northeast, which is like a cool furniture store. And I was like, hey, I'm going into my favorite furniture store. I literally was in there 10 minutes. I do probably more extravagant edits than most people would do because that's what I do. But 10,000 views and on what almost felt like a throwaway piece of content. And then on the other hand, I'll sit down for hours in my studio and get hundreds of views on something that I shoot, that's like long format. Here's everything you need to know about buying a home, blah, blah, blah. That takes me way longer. And then, this gets more eyeballs. The hard part is how do they then transfer into actual buyers, actual clients? But I think then it's as simple as, this is a business card. This gets people looking at me. And now I'm just continuing to be the person that they followed. And then I remind them from time to time that I do real estate. It's the same as you, except on digital, it's like I hang out with people and tell them, hey, by the way, I do real estate.
Yep,
Mhm.
cool.
So Kim Kettler's got a question for
Yeah.
you. What would the best social media venue be for realtors?
I think all of them. I hate that answer. Sorry, Kim. But I think it depends on who you are. I think if your demographic is older, Facebook, and just hit Facebook so hard. Like just do so much Facebook, like multiple posts a day in a way that's not annoying. Stories, videos, reposts, just statuses, whatever. I have a hard time imagining how Twitter turns into clients, but I'm sure that there's a way, I just don't get it. But yeah, Instagram, huge. TikTok, huge. TikTok is cool. And the reason that I, became interested recently is because it's more of like each post can do well or bad. Whereas on Instagram, your posts do generally all about the same, right? Give or take some percentage. TikTok will push out the better stuff that you do to more people.
Mhm.
And so it can sort of be a magnet in a way that Instagram can't. YouTube isn't social media. Obviously, I think it's really cool, but it's a whole beast. I think people could do just as well without YouTube doing short form stuff and more of it,
Terry's got a
Yeah.
thought here.
Want to go first, Amy?
Yeah,
But I want to follow it up.
One of the best things I got out of what you said is that you post the content, forget about it, and go on to the next. You post something, you're so worried about the numbers that you're getting, you'll be too afraid to go on to the next. So set it, forget it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
And don't get too big for your britches either. Don't let a post do well, and then you're like, well, I'm the coolest guy ever.
You're only as good as your last sale, right? But to Kathy, when you talked about that too, I think too, some of the, Jesse and Kate are killing it socially. However, I think you always have to go back and really understand who is your target audience and what are you saying to them? My target audience is not on TikTok. They're not on, Instagram maybe, but they're probably not on LinkedIn because they're retired. A lot of them are. So rather than always chasing what's working incredibly for somebody else, you have to focus on who is your target audience and what resonates with them. Otherwise, you'll be endlessly chasing all these shiny pennies all the time because it seems like the thing to do.
And I would say master one platform at a time.
Yeah.
Once you get- I feel like I've mastered Facebook. Now I'm on Instagram, and after Instagram at the same time. Like, don't try to get into all the things. Like, master something.
Most of all, enjoy what you do. Stretch yourself. Absolutely. Go ahead, learn. Don't be afraid to learn, do it, go, whatever. But if you aren't enjoying it, guess what? You're not going to come across genuine and you're not going to like your job and people aren't going to hire you. So with all of that said, I absolutely just personally, I don't know why I could be dead tired. I could be super sad. I get in front of a person and I light up like a Christmas tree. Hi. For me, even my last open house that I just did, I got $4 million leads off of it.
Wow.
I love open houses. I'm good at open houses for some weird, odd reason, but just be figure out, try different things, but then just be fun and be good at it and enjoy it. Otherwise, it's just going to be like, "Bleh, wah, wah," right? So just you have to figure it out, but try things, stretch yourself, and then kind of hone in.
Cool. How am I doing on my 7 to 8 minutes per platform? Okay. Platform number 2, I'm going to combine my questions together. Create your brand, make sure all your marketing platforms are consistent with your branding message. I just want to talk about, are you satisfied with your branding? And if not satisfied with your branding, what changes or what's in your plan for changing in your branding? And the point I always make with everybody is that your print marketing, your social media marketing, your website, everything that you do should look the same and it should scream your brand. And that is really important as we get into and talk about all the different platforms everybody's doing on social media. Jesse Lynch Realty is everywhere. You can see it in everything that he's doing. You're seeing it. So talk about, are you happy with your branding? What change, if not, what changes you want to make? So Sarah, you start.
Okay. Well, I'm happier with my branding. So I was in real estate full time, like way back when, and then the crash came when I have to tell this backstory because it won't make sense otherwise. And then I got just did a part-time while I was a social worker. And then I got on Paul's team to get kind of back into it. And I was like, what? Because I didn't know what I didn't know that I should have known. Right. And so he really got me started on this consistency thing, just kind of watching him. Also, I was like a miser. I didn't want to spend the money, right? Because I was so used to living in that attitude of like, oh. And so with the branding, I had to realize, okay, I have to get it all on the social media. I have to make sure it's in my newsletters. I have to make sure it's wherever I go. And then also just making sure that I keep continuing that, like just listed postcards, just like keep trying things, but also not spending too much money on things that maybe don't work. And so making sure, and this is where I fail probably, he's really good at it, but like looking at your ROI, your return on investment, he constantly is trying new things, which I absolutely love about Paul. He's very creative and will kind of like, and some things have fallen really flat for you.
Oh yeah.
And you've
Oh,
spent
yeah.
a lot of money on them.
Oh
And you
yeah.
thought they were the next greatest thing. But I like that he still tries. And then he actually looks at the numbers, like the return on investment. So with your branding, I say try it, but don't forget to look at your ROI.
Yeah, good point.
I would say, yes, we're happy with our brand. We've had it for quite a while, and I look at our brand, not just your logo and all that. I think it's really important that you have your mission statement or your value proposition, and then have that speak to who you are. So for us, we are living our brand. Our brand just comes out in what we do. And so I think that a lot of people ask, oh, did you get was that a good ROI? See, we look at that a little differently. I don't know, but I know that when I walk into the hockey arena, parents are like, Jackie B. Will it turn into a client? Maybe. Will they spread the word? Yes. I was at dinner with a couple ladies the other day, none of them which were my clients, and they all knew more about what we do for the community and what we do for our clients and 2 of them couldn't even remember their realtor's name. So that is our brand. We're living our brand. We give back to the community. Everybody that we know knows that. They know what we do for our clients. So for us, our brand is our mission statement and our why. And then it's tied into our logos, and all of that kind of stuff are very consistently to go with that. So every ad that we do, Shelby Designs, is the same. So whether it's in Anoka Swim and Dive or Anoka Basketball or Anoka Football, they all look very consistent. They just have different backgrounds, whether it be a pool or a football field. And so I think your brand is a little bit more than just your logo. I think that's part what you have to put out there, but I think you have to live your brand.
Yeah, real piggyback on that one. I did social indoor for many, many years, just to be called AJ Indoor, I think it was. I can't remember what, all over media it was called. And I would go in on a listing appointment and I'd be like, well, how did you hear about us? And it's like, oh my God, Paul, I see you all over. And it was all called All Over Media at the time. And I get text messages. I can't even go to the bathroom without seeing your ugly mug. And you know what? And that happened several times a month. I would get these messages and it's like, okay, it's working. It's working.
Yeah.
So,
Love what you said, your logo is not your brand, that's
Yeah.
the logo. So, I'm happy with my brand in my mind and what it is. I'm working on getting it consistent across all the platforms. So bringing in resources to help me get my act together there.
I will piggyback what Terry just said. I'm happy with my logos and all the things, and also piggyback Jackie. I feel like we're all walking, talking brands. So the part of you that's really good at what you're doing is the part you should convey all the time, because whether that matches your logo or not, it's just consistently being you. And when speaking about real estate, consistently talking about it, like you enjoy it, like it's your passion. And then all the staples like your logo and all the fonts and whatever you're going to do. I try not to get too crazy about it. Just get the basics and then just do the rest.
I will, when that. Your brand is who you are, be authentic. I mean, I feel like the logo is a big piece of it. If you are on social media, it has to be eye-catching. I've been watching some agents here. Sherry, you've rebranded with your husband, and I love that. I mean, you could have just before kind of fallen in with all the other agents, and now every time I get on social media, I see your posts and there it is. You know, it catches people's eyes. So as much as logo isn't a part of it, if you are on social, be beautiful, stand out. K2 Homes, we have a lot of thought behind it. It does, our logo does represent who we are. We put our heart into everything that we do in our communities, with our clients, into our renovations. So there's a heart in the middle of homes. Obviously, that's what we do. So yes, you are your brand, but tie it all together. It's a package deal. So if you can really make yourself stand out, it's super important in this day and age, because there's a million of us out there.
Yep.
I don't have much to add to all the agents, but I think your brand is your reputation. You know, pretty much, you know, is who you are, and, you know, how people know you, and they know, you know, and I'm happy what people like, what my community knows about me, and they think I'm the right agent for them, and they trust me. But I'm also need to get involved maybe with Jesse about TikTok and stuff.
Oh God, Nasser on TikTok.
So that's what it is. So
All right, go.
Am I happy with my brand? Sure, but I think
Any changes you're got slated for next year that you want to
Yeah,
share, or
make
that's
it
you're gonna keep
bigger.
them?
make it bigger.
Make it bigger, okay.
You know, I think I did a whole branding thing here somewhere on the internet. Your brand is what people say about your brand behind your back, right? It has nothing to do with actually, well, it has very little to do with how you intend it to be and how people receive it. Your brand, if you do an open house and you get clients from open house, how many of them were like, you mind if I see what your logo looks like? None. Nobody cares, right? Like, it is important, but it's very, very often that is the least important aspect of it. You could have the sickest logo and post it over and over and over again, and it doesn't matter if people don't know who you are or what you do associated with that. The Nike swoosh doesn't mean anything without Nike being Nike. You know, there's all these things. It's like, you have to have, the brand is cool, and you can rebrand, and I can appreciate that. I like a logo. I like aesthetics. I'm like into that. But that is like, right now, my focus is just more content, right? And so if that comes along with me deciding to rebrand, which I did, it's like, I started out as Jesse Lynch Realty, and then realized as it became a team, I wanted to sort of change that. And so now it's to the Twin Cities. But the logo is, I don't know, like the smallest part of everything else. But so and to me, if it is what people say behind your back, then I just want more people talking about me behind my back.
Right, nice.
Yeah.
Excellent, love it. Any questions from the audience or on Zoom at all about branding that you got for the gang? Okay, platform 3 is poster, schedule poster, consistent, creative, and personal to you and your brand. We talked about that, I think, already. Anybody get questions at all about posting unique content? I know Kate is utilizing Back at You Media, and you're personalizing content. Are you seeing engagement on the? Okay.
Same engagement.
Okay.
I had to tone it down a little bit.
Okay.
because it was not me
Yeah.
completely. So I went through the calendar and picked out what represented us and our brand. And
Okay.
deleted some other stuff.
Yeah.
and-
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And it was doing a lot of like Facebook at one day, Instagram the other. It was just feeling too much. So,
Okay, gotcha.
yeah. so
Perfect.
I pulled that.
All right, platform number 4, research, design, executed demographic, geographic, sociographic farm. So for those that don't know, we're talking about demographic farm is a certain neighborhood that you're doing. Geographic farm is, let's see, sociographic farm is going to be your booster clubs and senior residential and things like that. Geographic would be like first time, is it first time? Help me out. Demographic is first time, yeah. Demographic is first time buyer, senior residential. Geographic is going to be a neighborhood, sorry. Sociographic is like booster clubs and things like that. Who raise your hand if you're doing a farm? So.
Like, I guess I'm confused. I'm not a farmer, so.
Let's
I mean, kind of, I have goats, but.
pass it down to Sarah. Pass it down to Sarah. Just kind of talk about what you're doing for a farm and what went into picking the farm and researching it and stuff like that.
So I am not doing one of those typical, I just do my sphere, and then I would say like I contact like my kids' school, that kind of thing. And so then my goal this year, because I was just talking to my eldest who's now 23, and a lot of her friends got married this year or last year and they're renting. And so I'm actually I asked her if I could get her contact list and start that I'm going to do like a little farm for first time home buyers and little married couples. So that was kind of like my new idea for a farm this year. I mean, I think you can make it what you want it to be. And I'm like, man, because then I have a 21-year-old and an 18-year-old. And so I'm like, that is going to be where I need to focus my attention, because they all know me as their mom from that school who did whatever. And now they see me on social media. So if I can somehow figure out how to connect with them, I think I'll have a nice, cool farm that way.
Cool.
I don't really have a ton to add. We did a neighborhood farm for quite a while and just stopped that specific neighborhood in the first quarter of this year. But again, we're just very community oriented. So we're very involved in the schools and in programs that are in the city, and then small business too in that same area. So that's kind of our.
Ramsey's your farm though. I mean, how you do it a
Yes.
lot of different ways, but the bottom line is it's to get the Jackie B's name out in Ramsey.
So both
Yep.
Anoka and Ramsey, so businesses both in Anoka and Ramsey, everything at Anoka High School, and throughout Anoka Ambassador, all that. And then, I mean, we have a lot of clients in Anoka and Ramsey,
Mhm.
so our sphere is technically become our farm.
Right.
And then we do send to my neighborhood just because it's a small neighborhood and I've had a lot of listings in that neighborhood, so we've kind of capitalized on that. But yeah, I think when it comes to a farm, it's again, just being consistent and not giving up too soon. Because I think that's important.
Love it.
Last year was the first year that I started a geographical farm that aligned with my demographic farm, and invested a boatload of money in the mailers that went out to 3 different neighborhoods. And, just stayed the course, although now I'm starting to get traction on that. I just had my first closing and it was a $700,000 listing. So that doubled my investment with that one. And they went and pulled it out of the recycling because they needed a realtor quick. And they're like, oh, we remember we had yours in the recycling. So it's like, oh, well, I don't care where you find it. you
Yeah.
know.
How long do you think that you did that before you got? some traction?
Yeah,
Because I
that,
think that's the farm.
right. And that, when do we commit to that?
See,
December?
I would say, but it probably was February
the
was the
first
first
one.
one, would have been the first
And
mailer for you.
I just got that call 6 weeks ago. But I've had a couple other reach outs like, oh, in the mailings, the reference to it. Oh, I love what you send out. So that was 7 or 8 months in. So why would I stop that now?
Yeah.
Trying to encourage that with, my younger son just into the business, just like start it now. Like Wendy Hansen is great for that. She's been consistent. She's got good traction with that. So, yeah, you just.
It's
you
really,
increase it
especially
back to-
on a demographic farm, but something that you're consistently mailing, it's really 2 to 3 years before you start seeing the benefit, but it's 2 to 3 years. All of a sudden you've got #1 market share in that area or demographic that you're doing. And when you get #1 market share, you will continue to do it the rest of your career.
And I would say, don't be fearful of it has to be an expensive thing. If it is a matter of getting the little plastic bags and putting, you know, the market or what's sold around that area and walking the neighborhood, hanging it on their doors once a month, that is very, very affordable. You can do that for $20. So it doesn't have to be, oh, I just don't want to invest the money. You can find affordable ways to make that happen.
Just say,
With that, I used to do that. I just didn't enjoy it because of the time, but I was new in the business. And so, but it still was a really good way to get the neighborhood going and get those leads that you need, especially if you're not from that area, or if you're new, it's a nice, good, reliable, cheaper way to do a geo farm. I don't do it now because I don't want to spend the time, but it is, if you have the time, like, do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they see your sign.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden everyone.
Oh, yeah.
The
See a couple
sign."
signs. Yeah, they see a couple signs for sure. Yeah.
I don't have much to say.
Make a video while you're in the area.
Yeah. The reason I put farms in here is some agents that maybe aren't doing the volume that these guys are doing. A farming is a great way to get started. Brand new agents and things like that is to get started. And I remember when I got started, and I was brand new, and I knew that if I got asked, how long have you been in business? I've been in sales for 27 years would be my answer. Okay. Or I talked a lot about the brokerage, you know, I was all about the brokerage and stuff like that at the beginning until I was able to get some traction. And then I was able to develop and design my own brand. And then no longer was I talking about the brokerage anymore. It's all about my own brand. So questions from audience or on Zoom at all about farming? Okay, next platform number 5, creator join accountability group partnership. Think outside the box, connect with other entrepreneurs. This is really, really important. Especially if you're new to the business, it's really important to have that accountability session. So I know Jackie is really, really heavy on accountability. So Jackie, you want to take this one and run with it?
Yes, I think it's very, very important. It completely changed my business. I doubled my business when I had an accountability group, and in 1 year. So if that's something that, you know, is inspiring to you, is get somebody or a group or join something that keeps you accountable. It doesn't, and make it fit to you. So for me, plug your ears. Not driven. We have to meet our goals. So don't get me wrong. We have to meet our financial goals. We have to meet our transactional goals. But for me, I find the best accountability in someone who's going to hold me accountable to what tasks are going to help me reach those goals. I think it's important, whether you are driven by money or transactions or whatever it is, you find somebody that's going to be strong enough to hold you accountable, but also that aligns with you. Like for me to meet with somebody that's going to push me and keep saying, you have to make 10 million, you have to make 10, that's not going to drive me. But for someone to say, did you send out your mailing last week? That is what drives me. So find a group, find somebody, but wholeheartedly accountability and just engagement. If you're not comfortable with having an accountability partner, even though I think that's something that's super easy, come in. We'll all be your accountability partner. Get engaged, join groups, anything to get you in the real estate mindset on a constant basis and have to be accountable to somebody else for your actions.
Yep. Anybody else on
And
accountability?
I think you have to
Yep.
be accountable to yourself. You know, I think sometimes accountability groups are social support groups, and that's great. But I think your accountability, as you said, has to be somebody. I heard once, pick out the person that you like least in the room and have them be your accountability partner. You know, it's not about best friend time. But if you're also accountable to yourself and what you want to achieve, you know, like all of us up here are probably thinking, okay, how can I improve this? How can we're all in competition with ourselves. And so kind of, what do you want? Do you want to make excuses or do you want to try and get it done?
Yep.
I'll
Anybody
take
else?
that like a step forward from what you're saying. And I think it's just how we live our lives. Like I've always been someone who exercises. I need it mentally. So I think it comes from self-discipline too. Because you can have people pushing you and encouraging you all you want, but unless you decide you want to do it and engage yourself, it's not going to happen.
Right, for sure.
I do the complete opposite when someone's trying to hold me accountable. That's why I don't come into the office, why I do most of my work in my pajamas at the kitchen island. My accountability is my why. So if you're not a person that gets driven by other people, make sure you have your why written down somewhere and go back to that every single day. My why is my kids, my husband, our future, our vision. I think this is another question, but my daily practice is essentially my accountability partner. What works for me is not what is going to work for everybody else. And so if you can really have that time to yourself every day to figure out what it is that you want out of this business, you're going to go a lot further, in my opinion, than someone do this, do that, do that.
Yeah.
You gotta hold yourself accountable for sure.
Yeah. And if you're interested in accountability of partners or groups or anything like that, get a hold of Dave. He's been working on putting that together for our office and stuff. So I've had a business coach since 2013, I think it was. So 9 years I've had a coach, and it's really expensive, isn't it, Lynn? It's really expensive. Yep. And so accountability groups and partnerships is very affordable. When you go to get a business coach, I think we spend about $30,000 a year on our business coach. So it can, you've got to make some money in order to do that. But I also credit my business coach to taking my business to the next level. So it's a big deal. So, okay. Platform number 6, develop a vendor, small business platform. Partnerships are beneficial for both sides. We won't spend a ton of time on this. A vendor platform and small business platform is something I've really formed my business on. A vendor platform, you give out a ton of referrals, right? You refer out a handyman, a plumber, electrician, inspector, title, lender, all that kind of stuff. You give out a ton of referrals. Somebody getting into mortgages. I just had one of my past clients contact me because he had just gotten into mortgages. What a time to get in to be a loan officer is right now, right? And of course, he was wondering if he can get my loan business, my referrals from my buyers for a loan business and stuff like that. The thing about the vendors the people that you're referring is what are the expectations in return? What are you expecting out of your vendors? If you're going to refer them, you're expecting them to refer you also. And I don't remember where I saw it at, but the national statistics is that everybody in the United States becomes aware of somebody in their sphere buying or selling a home like 2.1 or 2.2 times a month. Okay. So 25, 26 times a year. And you're asking for one referral is what you're asking for. So when they say, well, I really don't know of anybody. Yeah, but somewhere in the next 12 months, they're going to become aware of 25 or 26 people that are either thinking about buying a house, already bought a house, or interested in selling their house or whatever. So it's what your expectations are, setting up a vendor platform. And if anybody's interested in that, just reach out to me separately and I can work with you on that. But anybody got any other thoughts at all from the panel on small businesses? Kate, you do a ton, don't you, with the small businesses promoting their business? Jesse's just talking about going into the unique store in Northeast, the furniture store in Northeast, and promoting their business. He does a ton of promotions on business. Now, can you take it to the next level? And I'm promoting your business, promote mine back, because a lot of those small businesses you're talking to have got employees, right? Think about what that network can look like if you did it right. Yeah.
I do not do that with with any expectation that they're going to even know that I made that video.
Okay.
So while I can appreciate that could indeed, you could get, business out of it. I think you have to be very aware that it doesn't feel like you're doing that as a transactional thing, especially when it comes down to video. And when my brand is, I'm not a transactional guy, but yeah, I'm sure there are situations where I'm sure I could call all these businesses and say, hey, I'd like to spotlight your business, but that's not really how it works for me. But
One thing,
what I was going to say, one of the things we're doing with the panel is to give everybody out in the audience some ideas, is what can they do to get some traction, to get going if they're new to the business or struggling in the business. Yeah.
and one thing real quick, I would add to that, because I do align with BNI and there's a lot of business networking in there too. You have to often teach them how to give you a referral. Don't assume that they know how to do that. So it's not like, oh, let's have a little session on this, but just weave it into the conversation. Oh, you know what, I did, the person down the street, shared a client with me. I mean, you have to often teach your friends and family and businesses how to refer. So
Yeah. Okay, good. All right. Any, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kate.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I mean, if you're doing everything genuinely, I'm like Jesse, I'm not transactional. I mean, when COVID hit and small business was affected, it like hurt me. It like crushed me because I come from small business. So I went out there authentically and supported these business with wanting nothing in return. And I will tell you this year, I've seen it pay off. I mean, some of the businesses I've supported have sent me millions of dollars worth of, and I
Oh.
really didn't
Can
expect
you
it.
say that
I didn't-
again? Can you say that again?
Millions of dollars worth of
Okay.
business. One chiropractor in White Bear Lake has sent me 3 transactions this year. I mean, and that was I was genuinely doing it. So if you go into this expecting something in return, you're going to just be let down over and over and over again. If you're doing it from the goodness of your heart, because you truly want to help people. I mean, that's my whole mantra. You're going to thrive. Don't expect anything. When you lower your expectations, you're going to be blessed beyond measure. So
Love it.
just keep that in mind.
Come from contribution. Yep, absolutely love it. Any questions from the audience? Kath?
Excuse me. I'm just, my next appointment, I'm meeting with, the person I did the pickleball tournament, if anyone saw that. And, talking about starting the BNI. And do you think that's still, I know it kind of was so popular and then kind of faded away. So I'm wondering if it's worthwhile to do something like that.
Carrie, I think you're the only one here that's in a BNI, or Kate is too.
I started one group 4.5 years ago because it's impossible as a realtor to get into one often. You know, it's a lot of time. I've learned more personally than I went into it with what can I get from it, but it teaches you to come from contribution and what can I give for it. And then again, as Kate said, if you have that shift in mindset, I think that there's a lot of great opportunities personally and business wise that can come out of that. So, but I'm happy to chat after with you, Kathy, about that.
Ramsey actually started one in the last year as well, and he has had great success from that, but they are really hard to get into right now. Pretty much one everywhere.
Yeah, I'm looking at a financial advisor, loan officer, and, you know,
Yeah.
those are the hard spots.
Yeah, that's Hudson Terry or Ramsey.
Yeah.
Ramsey started one.
And I know both of them have been sending referrals to somebody in the chapter that they haven't been real happy with some of the services that have been provided. So you got to remember that it's really, really imperative and important that you set up the parameters there, that if it's not turning out the way that you want it to be, you need to make some changes. So
Yeah, I was in the group for a while, forever. And what I found is that people will prefer people that are in that, and then that counts as one, because you have to give so many. And I kind of started staying away from some of those referrals, because it's like, do you really know them? Or is it a B&I thing?
Yeah. We'll
You know,
chat after.
I think, I was just gonna add, I think you can also look at it, you don't have to pigeonhole yourself if B&I is not your thing. I mean, there's a lot of us up here that do a lot with small business. But like for us, we have established like a women in business type of thing to build up other women entrepreneurs. Cause I always feel like it's can be difficult for women. We're juggling a lot of things. So there's a lot of people that start book clubs, and that is various vendors.
Mhm.
So I feel like you can surround yourself with other vendors in many different ways. It doesn't necessarily have to be like putting yourself in a group that is expecting the referrals back and forth. Whether it's promoting small business or whether it's starting a book club, or you're going to get those referrals. You know, we've gotten quite a few from our women in business group. And that's doesn't even have to be like your standard business people. I mean, we're talking like the Norwex lady, right? But it still turns into business. So I would think what you want to surround yourself with and what drives you to do that, to kind of work with vendors, because it will come. I mean, I think that's no matter how you do it, if you do it consistently and from a point of contribution, you're going to get referrals from the people that you surround yourself with.
Yep, love it. Cool. All right, the nasty one, number 7, lead generation. When you get into real estate, rule number 1, I refuse to pick up this phone and call anybody. Lead gen looks totally different, doesn't it, Jesse? Jesse is not going to pick up the phone and grab a white pages and start making phone calls. He's not. But his lead generation is what he does every single day. You know, go take a look at his Instagram, YouTube today. You're going to see lead gen all over the place. So lead gen looks all different for everybody. such a big thing. I just want to kind of get everybody's take on this is like, what does lead gen mean to them? And how do they make sure that they're consistently doing it? I always call it time blocking, but how do you make sure that lead gen is happening? So.
I'll start since I have the microphone. I think it's really important to have a plan. We sit down as a team and plan out our entire marketing calendar. You don't have to do the whole year, but I think it's important to do your touches, have a plan, because you're much more likely to actually go through with it than, oh gosh, now it's January and I don't have a plan. So I think for me, for lead gen, the most important things that we do is have a plan. And we're constantly reviewing our plan. So when we have our team meetings weekly, we're constantly going, okay, is everything on track for this? Is everything on track for this? What's next? Dates backwards, all that kind of stuff, holding the team accountable for what's coming. But I think for lead gen and just consistently doing it, I think that that's one of the things you have to do is it has to be part of your business. It's not going, none of our business has fallen in our laps sometimes, but for the most part, it's because we're consistently trying to make connections in many different ways consistently with a plan.
So I also have, but like, I love people. I like being around them, but I was really, really bad before being in real estate at like, actually someone would say, hey, I have surgery on whatever. It's too bad. I'll keep you in my prayers. My thoughts will be with you. Do nothing. Same thing over and over again. Wouldn't write a card, and you wouldn't believe that now, because now I have a plan that when I hear that, I had to train myself, though it didn't come natural. I will be the first to admit it did not, unfortunately. Like I felt for them naturally, like that was genuine, but I wouldn't do anything about it. So now I make sure I write a card. Like I know there's a lady who told me, I'm like sitting at her at a volleyball game. I'm having surgery again on my femur that broke, and then it broke again. And now she's limping and she's got to go through it all over again. And this was Friday. So I'm going to be sending her something in the mail. Just hope that you, whatever. Right. And so listening, being genuine, just those little things, I call that even lead generation. They ask me, how are you doing? How's work? Like they know, because I'm on social media, I'm doing all that stuff. They already know, but I just want to care about them. And those I don't put my card in though. That is not the time.
Mm-hmm.
You have to
get on top of your business card. Could be a little tacky.
and then you do the real, I care about you no
Yeah.
matter what you do with me or not in the future. Doesn't matter. Even if you use someone else, I love you.
Talk about your birthday party, but
Oh, so yeah, I've sold 3 houses to a client, maybe 4. And I just they lived really far away, and I would do these pop buys way far away, and they used me, and I was like over $1 million in sales this year. And she's like, we just love you so much. And I found out when I was in this process that they had used another agent to list their home. Cause when I went to go like do the market and stuff, I'm like, she's like, yeah, she was on our whatever. And I had still kept in touch. So like, even though you're still keeping in touch, there's like a whole bunch of people out there going like piranhas trying to get your clients. Anyway, so she ended up loving me so much that she invited me to her husband's 50th birthday party, and it's on Saturday, and she's inviting all of her neighbors, her old friends, her church people. So am I going?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. And that's a fun lead gen thing, right? I get a free meal. I get introduced as his Sarah, our realtor. How many? I don't know what the ROI is going to be on that.
Yeah.
I think that's just it, right? They'll think outside the box. It doesn't have to be picking up the phone.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pick up the phone either. And so I think it's all those things of just doing what is genuine to you and what speaks to you. Like with Jesse, it's all his content stuff. That's not me either. So I think that's what you're going to probably hear through the line is just to do something consistently, but lead gen doesn't have to be picking up the phone.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm probably the most inconsistent, unorganized person that there is, really. Well, maybe Sarah's but you know what? It is, I guess I try and every day think of one more thing I can do. Oh, I should send out that email. I should send them a CMA. And this is always a cloud that follows me around to try and get better and more systematic and more in a rhythm. I know it's just a personality flaw that I have, but I've embraced that and I know I will continue to try and get better at it.
But you're doing it.
But I'm
doing it.
still doing it, but again, it's that constant, as you guys said, it takes a lot of work and a lot of time. And, I get comments from people like, oh, you shouldn't be sending out emails at 10:10 at night. I'm like, if I need to do one more, I'll get it done. I try and contain it, but it's just doing something every day, every
Love
day.
it.
I'm really not a lead generator, sorry. But I am. So I'm not organized. We're all so probably bad at this, but I touched on it before. I have property management, so I'm literally lead genning constantly with my tenants, with my owners who know other owners it's funny, I don't realize I'm lead genning, but I'm literally lead genning throughout the day, all day, every day. But I'm not a pick up the phone kind of person. So lead genning might be me taking somebody out to lunch. But it's very authentic and organic to who I am.
I'm similar. I mean, just what I do on a daily basis, I guess, is what generates my leads now. But I will tell you, when I started in this business, lead generation is what built my business. I was on a lead team with my previous brokerage. They would feed me. I was in the car in 10 minutes on my way to meet a lead. I can't even tell you the places I saw, the people I met, but I did it. And I grinded that first year because like I said, I expected everybody to come to me and they didn't. And that was really a beautiful way for me to show that I was working. So it's worth it. I mean, even though I gave 50% of my paycheck away to the brokerage that was feeding me the leads, 50% of something is better than 0% of nothing. And so it really helped build my business. So lead generation, even though I'm not doing your traditional lead generation now, if you can buy leads and you can work them, I know it's a very competitive market, but if you have the, yes, thank you for the word, the gumption to go out and do it, and you're not afraid. I mean, and those are the people you can screw up on, honestly. They're the people that you can fumble over your words and not lose sleep over it at night. When you're fumbling over your words with people well, it's a little more uncomfortable. So even though I don't do it now, if you are getting into this business and you have the ability to tap into some sort of lead generation by purchasing them, it's worth it. I mean, honestly, I was a top lead generator at my brokerage in 2019, and 50% of my business that year with 31 sales was from leads. So.
Yeah, I'm like the other ones. I mean, I try cold calling and emails, doesn't work for me. So it's usually just, asking about past client, call them, making sure how they're doing. And also I created a Facebook group for real estate market in Minnesota that people who speak Arabic, which is my original language. So I got 450 people in the group.
Nice.
So they speak the language. So I post stuff. I mean, none of you in the group, so you don't know.
I know. I'm looking at these posts going, okay, Mindy, is this compliant?
So I post stuff about like, how's the market doing?
Yeah.
And is it a good,
It's a good time to buy or sell.
and it's a good time to sell and stuff like that. And people always engage with me, and I don't know most of the people. And I was surprised after 6-8 months from that group, I went to an event and everybody was shaking hand with me, and I probably knew 3. So, seriously, and then like
Nice.
10 of them I didn't know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, hey, how are you doing? I know you. The stuff.
Real
So,
estate expert. Yeah.
so it was like a lead generation, kinda,
Yeah.
but not really. So yeah.
Yeah.
My sort of outlook on lead generation is obviously what I do. I've already talked about it a ton of times, but I think like if you are not actively showing a house or getting a listing ready, that's your only job. It's like all you should be doing.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that matters. Yeah. So many people spend time like thinking about what do I do when that happens. The first get the thing and then figure out what to do with the thing. That should be all your time.
Yeah. Well, kind of the prevailing thought I got out of this from everybody is it's not about picking up the phone, but what it is, it's the Nike slogan. Just frickin' do it. Just do it. Quit talking about it. Quit thinking about it. Just do it. Just get out there, put yourself out there, and whatever is you. You heard that from everybody. Everybody does things differently, The bottom line is this group right here, they get out and they do it, don't they? Any thoughts, questions? Yep.
Do any purchases from Zillow or any kind of system? See, that is so incredible to me because when I got in this business 13 years ago, those were the top producers, were the ones that put all their money into these systems. It's amazing how it's changed and look at how successful you all are. And none of you do that. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'll say that I looked into it.
Yeah.
And then when Zillow called and I found out how much it was for like
Yeah.
a little teeny tiny share of zip code 55025, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. $500, $700 a month with no guarantee. It's like, I will take that $500 to $700 a month, spend it on lunches, coffees, my clients, whatever that
That's what's
is.
so great is you guys have found such creative, awesome ways to lead gen without, like you said, and which is way more fun. Spend your money on things that you enjoy and that become successful.
Yeah.
I also, I paid for some for like a little while and the reality, I got like too busy doing the other stuff that I just forgot to cancel it. So like I paid for paid leads for,
Oh,
I don't know, a year, wasted, $1,000 or something like that. But yeah, it was like, I realized like, oh, well, I don't even want to be working with those. Like it was so chaotic. It came in, it
Yeah.
was like, what the hell? Like you just like didn't know what was going on. Whereas like the people who sort of come in organically were so much cooler to work with, so much more my speed,
Yeah.
and just like actually, knew what I was doing.
I think the biggest thing we all look at us beating ourselves up. And I never thought I'd be on a panel like this because I never, you know what I mean? Like we can sit and go, oh, we don't lead gen, but it is so not that important. I think you have to remember it's the journey. You have to enjoy the journey because being in the trenches and knowing like there's this small amount of people that we're all trying to do the same thing, you have to like really get gritty and just work yourself, work your business and not worry about all the noise of what you should be doing because all of a sudden you'll be like, whoa, and look back and holy crap, I did it.
Yeah. If you're doing it, it'll come.
Yeah.
It will come. Absolutely. Jay knows this. I purchased Zillow leads for many, many years to the tune of like $8,500 to $9,000 a month. I remember at the beginning, I was the only Zillow agent in 55433, 55434, 449, 448, 304. I mean, I had all the zip codes and I was the only agent. And then they split it up to 3 agents. And then they kept splitting up and everything else. But at the end of the day, Zillow is known as the lead purchasing best company out there because their conversion rates are 3.6%. So if you talk to 100 people, you have 3.5 of them that you should be starting to do some business with. I mean, that's literally what conversion rates are. Buying leads is a 1 to 2%. Okay. And what most agents do, they call once, they don't talk to anybody. That's the last time they follow up with them. So
Would you rather find somebody that has too many listings to do open houses, become really good at open houses, which cost you almost nothing,
yeah,
and be face to face with
Yeah.
people that you can really
Absolutely.
accept? So I think don't be don't be misguided thinking that all of this comes from expensive stuff. It
No.
doesn't. Find ways that work in your budget. There's so much you can do that cost you pennies,
Yep.
but it's very effective.
Yep.
Sorry. I think you have to really look at it like just making connections and what speaks to you. So if you're into flips and contractor stuff, then make connections with people like that and the stuff will come. For us, it's always been our kids' sports or our community. So for us, it's about making connections with people in our community because you never know, and don't look at it as, well, if I take this client, they're not going to buy or sell. You have to think about, okay, but they know other people that may buy or sell. So, we work our past clients heavily. And some of them even that just bought this year, I know they're not going to buy and sell now, but I want to work with other cool people that they know. And
Mhm.
so I think you have to just look at all of that, anything that you're going to do, whether it's taking them to coffee or giving them a text or calling them or, sending them a meal after they have a baby or whatever it might be, as just another way to make a connection with them because even if it's not going to be them, someone they know is going to buy or sell.
and stay humble. This winter, I did an open house for Kate because I had absolutely nothing going on, but I was still consistent, sending out cards, doing newsletters, calling people, texting people, going to lunch with people. But I wasn't afraid to work. I'm like, Kate, throw me in an open house. Like you got to stay humble. There's nothing like it's too good for you. You know what I mean? Like, just work it. Like, and I got to lead off that. I'm still sending them on my list. I don't know if it's going to happen for 3 to 5 years. I don't know if it's ever going to happen, but like, you don't know. And so just like, you shouldn't be doing nothing ever. Like, there's always something. Whenever I'm doing nothing, I'm like, oh shoot, I should be doing something.
How the universe works. The girl that has won almost every single one of my raffles I do online for the last 3.5 years just called me for a listing appointment. Days up.
Yeah.
Again, she won again. Like, she ever gonna? It's not about buying a house, you guys. It's about putting ourselves out there.
Yeah.
They call her name out. Oh, it's Jenna. Yeah.
Aim.
If you guys consistently show up in your business and work every single day, whether it's even for an hour or 2, but I think that's the big difference of, like you said, Sarah, you can always be doing something.
Yeah, I got out of it. They're running their business like a business. Yeah, like a small business. I've shared this story many, many times over. I had a short sale listing, because that's what I did in 2008 to keep food on our family's table. And I got a phone call off of one of my listings in the sanctuary development of Blaine. And the guy wanted to take a look at the house. He was right outside the house. And I said, I will be right there. His name is Gary Larson. And I met Gary at the house and found out that Gary was the developer of the sanctuary. And he saw this house going up and found out it was a short sale and wanted to find out why that they were selling on a short sale. This is 2008. Everything's crashing around us. Okay. So that running out there and meeting Gary in that one appointment, all right, turned into, he had 36 lots left to sell in the sanctuary development, and his 2 agents that he had selling it with Redina Realty had not sold a lot in there for about 1.5 to 2 years or so. I took over the development, 36 lots in the development, brought in 2 builders in the development, repped those 2 builders, okay, sold all those lots out, built a whole bunch of houses. 75% of the houses that I built in there, I got backup houses. Sold Gary's house, a couple of different houses from you. I would say that one phone call amounted to around $40 to $50 million worth of business in my career. So off of one phone call. So yeah. Yeah, exactly. It was tough to do. So, but yeah, great.
To follow up, like my first broker that I ever had, he never taught me like, oh, get your list of your past clients, keep in touch with them. Like I find it a personal insult, and I know sometimes I lose a few and it's okay because you taught me that.
Yep.
Just but like I take it so personal if they use someone else, and I have been pop buying and I have been calling. I want my name from the one that they bought to be on the listing the next time. Like you can tell
Yep.
I kind of like this and I'm a little passionate about it. We really get competitive about that.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna piggyback off that for 1 second.
Okay.
Because if you've taken a class of mine, you know my story when I talk about top of mind. Just quick, I had a client, I listed their home, they bought with me, I lost the listing, our contract expired, and they said, it's a business decision, we're gonna go with somebody else. They did. They have probably given us upwards of 25 to 30 referrals, and we've probably closed 15. I've done all their kids' friends, and I lost the listing. So you just never know what's
Yep.
gonna come back around with that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a blessing in disguise because the other person was not awesome.
Yeah.
And you.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, we're going to do the last platform and get the heck out of here. Platform number 8, take time for yourself and keep your mind, body, soul, and healthy. So we'll start with Sarah. How do you chill? Step back, take time for yourself. See you, Jesse. How do you always put your family first? And what advice do you give to newer struggling agents to make sure that they're keeping themselves healthy?
Okay. So this last year I lost 40 pounds and I decided I was going to put me first because I was like business, 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 and I was losing myself in that. And so then I had to put some boundaries in place. I'm not great at that. I'm getting better. Like, well, now I've turned my phone off at 9:30. Now I don't have my phone on during church. I mean, I would be that person in church that you just wanted to hit over the head. Right. It is very hard, like, cause I want to be like service oriented, but I also need that time for my family. And so now I've also, unless it's really, really urgent, I don't make appointments on Sunday till after lunch for church. Like I will still show homes if I have to, like Sunday afternoon. So putting boundaries in place and making sure you take time for you to stay healthy. And sometimes you have to say, I just did this with a client. I want to meet with you tomorrow from blank to blank. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I have appointments. It could be that I have a volleyball game for my daughter that I am not missing. I'm not telling them that. I'm saying I have an appointment. And sure enough, they scheduled for the slot of time that I had made available.
Bingo.
So being a little bit more like, no, this is my schedule. And I mean, obvious, even if you just have to, like I have my exercise time. I'm sorry. I can switch it around sometimes, but like, if it's like 3 days in a row, that's not good for me. So.
I think this one's really hard, especially when you're getting in the business, because you feel like if you don't answer or if you don't accommodate, then you're going to lose the business. I think as you continue to generate business, you'll start to realize like those ones that you, if they're that rigid that they can't go at 1 o'clock versus noon, you don't want to work with them
You
anyway.
don't
So
wanna
like
work on
letting that business go and not holding on so tight to everything, I think is huge. I'm like you, just recently did the do not disturb on my phone. That was a huge game changer for me just mentally. But I have probably missed 5 sporting events with 3 kids in sports, multiple sports. That for me was always first, and church. And so just setting the expectation, I think a buyer consult is key to that, setting the expectation. And they don't need to know. Like many times I'm like, oh, I'm really sorry, I have an appointment and it's a hockey game. And so I think that's part of it is you have to, and we personally kind of live and die by our calendar. So we go through and mark vacations and all of that. And you have to just know that that's okay. If you do miss, it's just the plan. It's God's plans.
It's a daily challenge for me to shut it off, but I'm getting better at just saying, this is enough. It's 8:30 at night. It's good. But I try, and when I'm with people, especially my family, I try and not be on my phone. And unless it's the last day of an inspection period, I have to step out of the dress rehearsal day. It's like, I know my son, before he was in real estate, said, do you have to do that right now during my daughter's rehearsal dinner? And I'm like, yeah, I actually do. Give me just 2 minutes. But you contain it, but our business is endless. So you have to put some framework around it and just try and disconnect, or you go crazy and burn out.
I think with that, knowing what has to be done at that moment, we get so caught up with, we have to answer the phone, and we have to answer this text right now. Some of that stuff can wait. 10 minutes.
Yeah, some can't. And if you are at dinner and it can't, excuse yourself. I mean, most people understand it, but just don't make it a habit. Be done with it then when you are.
Yeah, I think just prioritizing what is the emergency, what's the 911, and I mean, nobody's gonna break me from my daily exercise. No one's gonna break me from lunch because I gotta eat. And then I found too that if you make yourself too accessible, you just give away your power. And I found that my way of, scheduling out a day or two, I'm an introvert. Like I need to have energy for that person. So I need like 36 to 48 hours to prepare myself mentally to be around and be on. So I found that I just give them an option of 2 times 48 hours from when we're talking. That lets them know, hey, I'm busy. This appointment matters. Be ready to show up because I will be, and it just has worked.
It's a really tough one for me because I really don't have a lot of boundaries. I'm working on that, but it's also a fine line because it's what helped build my business. The get up and go. I beat a lot of other agents to the door. There's a lot of, we live in a very like instant gratification. I need answers now type of world. So it's it's worked for me. I also have teenagers. That's a very different type of parenting than it is with little ones, right? So Cassandra's just getting started. I encouraged her to sit down with an agent that has littles because she can't get up and go like I can. I can get up and go and come back 2 hours later. My kids are still sitting in the same spot. It's
Yeah, and they're doing this.
And that's also why I feel like in this season of life, I'm able to be accessible the way that I am and successful the way that I am. So you have to figure out what that blueprint looks like for you. It's okay to say yes and get up and go. I know who I am as a person. I'm not a 9 to 5, sit at a desk thinking on Sunday night about having to be somewhere for 8 hours tomorrow. Sounds horrible. But if you call me 30 minutes before I need to be somewhere, I'm like, let's go. So you have to figure out what works for you. And if saying yes works for you, say it, because I get to say yes to a lot of other things. I get to be on a beach, sometimes answering phone calls. And so with that, I do know that I need to work on time blocking, but it's also helped create my business. So I'm not going to get up and go too much here because it really did. There's a fine line.
I'm the same way. I'm too accessible. Clients call me on the weekend, I want to see this house quickly, especially when there was a situation of multiple offers. You gotta go. You gotta go and put an offer and then, call the lender and make sure you're, all that. So, I don't do it all the time, but most of the time. Right now, I'm kind of notching it down a little bit. So like after 8 or after 7, I don't answer the phone, but I say, hey, can we text?
Mhm.
Kind of,
Yep.
so I can sit with my family and start texting. And if it's too crucial, like some of the clients, they can't do showing just the weekends. So I don't have a choice and unless I lose the client.
Mhm.
They have only the weekends, their free time to show. So
I think we got on a time blocking rant here. I think we were talking a little bit about mind, body and soul, which I did want to touch on because this is also a seasonal thing too. I feel like these last, 9-10 months I've been grinding. So like my personal, like physical health has been struggling a bit. I haven't been exercising. So now that we're slowing down, like that's getting worked back into my life. It's very difficult to have all 3 pillars balanced at one time, but I will tell you the mind piece of it, like will never ever shift for me. I'm every day working on positive mindset, daily affirmations. I am a successful real estate agent. You have to tell yourself those things, even if you're not. Tell yourself over and over and over again.
Yep.
Until it happens. So mindset, aside from being a yes girl, has really built my business. So that is like the one piece for me that is everything. Believe in the law of attraction. You attract what you put out there. So put yourself out there as a professional, you attract. Right now I'm like, what am I doing wrong? I am attracting. I was still like, I got all the crazies. Am I crazy?
No,
Shifting.
everybody's got the crazies. Trust me. Everybody's got the crazies.
But when something's not going right for you, you got to take it inward and you got to figure out what you have to shift in your own mindset to be able to take the next steps forward. So mindset for me is
Cool.
everything.
Jackie, do you have something you want to add?
No, I was just gonna say, I think that just takes a lot of it just is grit. I think you have to a lot of us fly out of our seat when the phone calls, and you'll get to the boundary part, but at the beginning, especially. I
But
think
the
all of
beginning, you
us-
gotta do what you gotta do. Yeah.
Kate, I worked for a company who was lead based and, just this week we had our client event and the client said, I remember that it was 9:30 at night and I called to see a house and you said, how about now? That's what won me over. I left. It was 9:30 at night. When the foreclosure days, I was out there showing creepy houses at midnight to people I didn't know. I don't suggest that, but.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah.
I think I would venture to guess that everyone up here, our laid back week is still 40 hours. Our
Yeah.
regular week is probably longer. So I think that setting those boundaries.
Yeah.
I think, and my family's had to make a lot of accommodations to understand that this is our life and this is how we do other things is to be for me to work like a crazy person, but I think you constantly are evolving. Again, I did it with littles. I only had 1 when I got in the industry. Now I have 3 and they're like 20, 17 and 14. So I did it with littles and, stayed up till 2:00 in the morning because that was when I could get my computer stuff done. So I think it's just about knowing yourself but knowing that it is hard work. When people ask me what it's like to be a realtor, because they think it's so easy. we basically are on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And, so it's just a lot of work. So you have to just be mindful of those pieces, I think, and just have that equilibrium. It's never equal. So like Kate said, I've never yet been in balance in this business.
It really helps to have a family who's supportive. My husband will add plans for Saturday and I'll be like, but you don't know, like if I have to go show a home, he's like, Sarah, that's a given. It's a given. And I'm like, okay, thank God for you.
Well, I was just gonna say, I know a lot, if you're a new agent, this is maybe gonna be a little bit more harder to swallow, but leverage. I think leverage is really important.
No, big time.
Is back in the day, I read a book and it said, get rid of the stuff that you don't do well. And I was like, done. And we hired an assistant, and that for us has been a lifesaver to give up some control over, because I like control. I like to do everything my way. Yes, I know. So I think leverage too, even if it's the little things, like get Josh involved, have him help you with your social media, get people, do the TC thing, like what you can get rid of and leverage. It's so worth it to, even if you leverage one piece at a time, it's definitely worth it.
You didn't hire
They're
just an
good.
assistant. You got a Shelby.
Well, and they're good at this brokerage. Like there are some people who don't have good TCs, and Mindy. I don't know what I would do without you.
Cool. Any questions for everybody about mind, body, soul, healthy that anybody's got, or on Zoom? Okay, sorry, I didn't do a very good job as a facilitator. I think platform number 1 was 45 minutes long, but we rolled pretty good after that. So did you guys like this? Did you enjoy this? Okay, absolutely. Thank you so much to the panel. Thanks to the audience that came and did it with us. So, all right, cool. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. We got some people like to talk too. Yeah, exactly.
This one is gonna be about buy on the sell, and the wife, if you buy one, it's gonna be about. I better not end up with portal of this. Interesting. Thursday does work? Yeah, no, I've got time. I just got logged in. You want to holler at me after you find all the time? I'm, like I said, I'm pretty wide open during the day, so it's fine. We got a lot to talk about. Well, and what you want to do, and which direction I'm wanting you to go. So